Okay.
Hello, sci-fi gangsters. This is the show where we talk about science fiction, comic books, and video games. But really, it's just an excuse for me to catch up with my friends and to meet interesting people. I'm Anthony Denard, media scholar in person, who is excited about tonight's episode because I am GMing again. I'm always excited about GMing, right? Game mastering for you, Jeremy. And
Galaxy Master.
probably one of the most experienced D&D players here. Anyways, so today's episode, Star Trek Adventures, episode 3. That is what we are doing today. For spoilers, although I will say this, and I am pretty excited about this. This is, as I said off air, this is about 90% my creation. I am using a lot of the backstory from the Shackleton Expanse, right? So once for spoilers, for those of you who are watching at home, all you kids who are playing at home, I am doing that campaign, but I'm kind of doing it my own way. I'm kind of using the backstory from simplicity. So there you go. Now you know. Now you know what particular episode in the Shackleton Expanse campaign. Before we begin, let's go ahead and introduce everybody. And when you introduce yourself, let me know what character you are playing, just to kind of catch everybody up. So we'll go ahead and start off with CJ. CJ, how you doing?
I'm doing awesome. I'm doing great. And I'm Lieutenant Donkra. I'm from the reptilian race, and I am the chief of security here.
All right, well, very good. The Xindi reptilian race, right?
Yes.
You got those Xindi in there.
Yes,
right,
yes. Be very specific on that. We know how you Star Wars fans. I say Star Wars. I already messed up. The Star Trek fans. You know, Jeremy's there keeping a straight face. He's like, "Screw you, dude. I'm sorry. I apologize." So yes, I'm a lieutenant, and it's happy to be here, guys.
Chief of security. Very good. Excellent. All right, and then we moving on to Lindsay. Lindsay, how you doing?
I'm good. Happy to be in the new year, hoping for cold weather again because it's gotten really hot all of a sudden out of nowhere. But today I am playing Asha, the Denobulan Chief Medical Officer for the ship.
All right, well, very good. Good to have you here. And then we'll move on down to Michael. Michael, how you doing?
Good. I'm playing.
Oh, he froze right when he was talking. We'll come back to Michael when he gets everything situated. So we'll go ahead and get to Acid, the producer of the show. Acid, who you playing?
I'm going to play myself tonight. No, I'm just kidding. I am Greg Glob Slol, even I can't say that, a Tellarite. I am the flight controller of this beautiful mission, so I will crash ships or save them.
Very good. We're waiting for Michael to be unfrozen. Jeremy, who are you playing?
I am playing the human Jason Masters, who is either a commander or a lieutenant commander in either first officer or chief of engineering. I forget what you changed me to.
Let's clarify that right now. You are the chief engineer, but you're also second in command. All right, does that make sense? You're chief on your.
So I'm executive officer. I'm XO.
That is correct.
Okay. XO.
You're basically Trip, right, from Enterprise, right? You're the chief engineer, but you're also second in command.
Okay.
Right. Very good.
I am a full commander, I assume.
That is why you are a full commander. All right. And as we wait for Michael to re-enter, I'll go ahead and introduce his character. His character is, did I lose his sheet? Oh, no, Ensign Minden, who is a Benzite, right? And he is the science officer. He's an ensign, and he's a science officer of the vessel. All right, well, very good. Excellent. All right, so before we begin here, we probably need to do some sort of recap of the last episode because this one sort of ties into that episode. Does anyone want to recap that for me so I'm not speaking the entire time? You could do just a general recap. I'll kind of fill in whatever you need.
Then we come to a planet, and everyone was zombified, and From there, Lindsay, she went into a deep sleep or something along those lines. Or was she left on the ship? I can't remember. But it was something like that. And then I think I fell asleep also as we were coming back from the ship. I had stuff going on in my personal life, but we were coming back. We were fighting off people that we knew, but they were zombified, from what I recall.
Yeah, pretty close. That was the episode before last. But yes, very good, excellent. Does anyone remember what happened last episode?
I believe we were on a planet with a strange structure.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And we were trying to get the structure open. Well, the structure opened, and we went inside the structure, and then danger occurred, and then we had to escape the structure with other, I believe it was other Starfleet personnel on the planet that we were actually they were trying to find. And they were obsessed with the structure. We couldn't figure out why they were obsessed with the structure. So.
We had to go down to the planet because we got caught in a tractor beam of some sort from the planet. Mm-hmm. And then couldn't figure out how to get back off the planet until we blew up the structure and the planet, I believe, as we left, and ended up on a Klingon vessel or something.
Didn't it blow itself up? Or did we blow it up?
Bit of both, I think.
I don't think it blew up. You guys just were able to get away from the.
It was like coming apart.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was coming apart because we triggered some beam or got into the way of some beam, or so. I can't. It's been a while.
Let me fill in the grid.
Fill in the gaps, Anthony.
Here. All right. So last episode, as you remember, 2 Starfleet officers stole a shuttlecraft, and you were assigned to track those officers down. And once you found out where they were at on the planet, you realized it wasn't just them. It was a bunch of other alien creatures, or I should say, other types of human, not human beings, but there was like a Romulan, there's a Vulcan, right? There's all kinds of different things from creatures from around the galaxy who were, they were marveling at the structure. You found out that they were under the control of an alien presence. Remember, they were sort of controlling their what they were doing. You did eventually escape the complex. You found out that they were being controlled by an ancient civilization known as the Telecol, who are no longer around, but their presence is being felt in the Shackleton Expanse through various weird things that are happening, right? And you were told by Starfleet that this was classified and not to mention this ever again. All right, that's basically.
And then everyone put it on Facebook.
Very good.
Literally MySpace.
Yeah, it was
MySpace. Put it on MySpace. They put it on Friendster.
Mike is truly the lucky one for not having to hear this.
He's joining soon. All right, here we go. Is everybody ready? All right, here we go. All right, so as we begin this particular episode, I kind of just want to know where everybody's at. Where is everybody at right now? We'll start with CJ. Where are you at? Let's say, because Jeremy's going to ask, let's say it's 3 p.m., right? You decide if you're on duty, if you're off duty, if it's your day off, whatever you're doing, okay? What are you doing during this?
I'm the security officer. I don't have time to be off. So I am definitely on duty, patrolling, making sure people are doing the patrols. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Okay. And the commanding officer of this particular vessel, the USS Pike, is Captain Jellicoe. You've been on the ship, let's say 3 months now. You've been assigned to the ship. Do you have any opinions on Captain Jellicoe? This is completely up to you. Do you like him? Do you not like him? Do you feel like you still need time to get to know him a little bit more? How do you feel about Jellicoe?
I think I need a little bit more time. I'm a little confused right now as far as where my loyalty lies. I'm a very loyal lieutenant here, and I'm like my commander Masters. I'm a little confused. Who do I answer to first? And so I kind of have this weird bias where my loyalty lies, but I'm like, they're okay. we'll figure it out as we go.
This has been established that you and a Masters have had a previous relationship. You're buddies. Maybe you went to the academy together.
Yeah,
You've had a previous relationship. So maybe you have a friendship, or you have a trust, a mutual respect going on there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm almost loyal to a fault. So.
All right. Well, very good. Good to know. We'll go ahead and move on to Lindsay. Where are you at during this time?
I'll say that we've gotten off for the day for Asha, and the equivalent of whatever 10 forward would be on this particular vessel.
Okay. I guess we can assume that it's 10 forward, right? Because it's a Galaxy class starship, so I'm assuming that it's pretty uniform. So this is 10 forward. You're enjoying. What are you drinking right now? What do you got?
I think she would just be partaking in just some good Earth vodka.
Okay, well, very good. Excellent.
There's potatoes in space.
There you go.
Let's go ahead and move on to Acid. Acid, what are you doing at this particular moment?
Well, I'm off duty. I'm in the holodeck enjoying some retro games on the holodeck. I'm playing the classic hit retro game Tekken 47. And it was one of the better Tekkens that came out. That was right after I finished Street Fighter 17. So
how does that work? Are you the character, or are you playing the character?
Yes, I pick a character and it suits me up, and then I pick another character that it puts me against. So I'm honing my
like Black Mirrors.
Yeah, I'm honing my guile skills
without the weird
right now.
sexual thing.
Oh. And then you have sex with you with that.
And then it's on with Chun-Li. It's on.
All right, Jeremy, we've established that you are both the chief engineer and the second command. It's 3 p.m. What are you doing?
If we're using Earth Standard Time, what day is it?
We'll say Saturday. But I guess if it's shift work, it doesn't really matter what day it is. Really, it just depends on if it's your day or off or not.
If I'm second in command, I'm working some off hours there. We'll say I am in Jellicoe's ready room with him.
All right. Anything particular that you guys are discussing right now?
I'm just giving him a rundown of.
She just got finished slapping him across the face for the last mission.
Of ship readiness for over the last week, and we're going over reports.
Do you want to reveal your opinion on Jellicoe yet? Do you feel is that something you want to reveal to the audience? Like, what would your opinion on Jellicoe as a commanding officer?
So I think Jellicoe is a inept commanding officer, and he left us out to dry multiple times. So I want to make sure the ship runs well and is not dependent on his leadership ability.
So a little animosity based on last episode. You feel a little bit, so you're not exactly on board with Jellicoe. He is your commanding officer, but you're not exactly enjoying this captain so far. All right, very good. All right, Mike, we've sort of established that it's 3 p.m. on a Saturday. You are the science officer. What are you doing at this time?
I'd say I'm probably in the communications area, making sure everything's working properly, keeping an eye on incoming traffic, and so on and so forth.
Are you on the bridge? So, are you at your console?
Yes.
All right. Well, very good. Excellent. Good to know. So we have a good idea of where everybody is at this particular situation, right? So the way I'm going to kind of do a lot of things is we're going to assume that this is a Star Trek episode, so you all know what's happening, even though you're not on the bridge for the most part. Unless I say in a particular instance you don't know what's happening, you kind of know what's happening, right?
I think I'm the only one that knows what's happening because I have my communicator on. No one else has their communicator on. So
we can make that the rule, like you're all hearing this on communication. Anyways, all right. So it's a normal day, right? Captain Jellicoe is on the bridge. We've sort of established that there's a couple people that are also on the bridge right now, and you get a hail. The USS Pike gets a hail, and we'll say that. The ensign, we'll call him Ensign Bryce, right? He goes, Captain Jellicoe, we have a call from a runabout asking to talk with you. He says, okay, this is kind of unusual to get just a random communication from a runabout. So he says, all right, go ahead and put it on screen. And when it comes on the screen, you notice that it's inside the runabout, and it's one woman who is just sitting in the runabout, and she has a Starfleet uniform on, and the insignia on the side indicates that she is an admiral. So you have a random admiral on a shuttlecraft asking to talk with Captain Jellicoe, right? And she says, Captain, I'm so glad that is you. I need your help. Permission for me to dock in your shuttle bay. And you kind of see Captain Jellicoe is kind of surprised to see this admiral. You can kind of tell that he recognizes her, and he goes, of course, right? And then he goes, of course, Bana. He kind of calls her by her first name, right? And then we'll kind of time passes by. The shuttlecraft goes into the USS Pike, and you see Admiral Stoker on the bridge, and she says, "I need to talk with you immediately. Can we talk in your ready room?" And he goes, "Of course, but if this is Starfleet business, we should have the senior staff as part of this conversation." And she says, "This is not part of Starfleet business, right? This is outside Starfleet business." Okay. And he says, Admiral, right? Or he calls her Bana. Let's say he calls her Bana, right? So you're kind of establishing, you're kind of starting to notice that they know each other. Like they have a relationship before this. He says, I feel like it's very appropriate that my senior staff is part of this meeting. And especially if it's not Starfleet business, right? So he's kind of, he's being smart about this. You can tell that she's sort of appealing to their friendship, but he's not backing off. So she says, okay, that's fine. Just senior staff. So he calls all senior staff, which is all of you, right? So you're all called to meet in the reading room. And, you're kind of all sitting down. She's sitting down as well. And I'm just going to kind of give like a short description of Admiral Bana Stoker, who is a short, stocky human with a close-cropped white hair. Her natural expression is a sarcastic grin. Even when she is being serious, she has sharp, focused blue eyes that can be intimidating, as they seem to look right through you. When you encounter her, she is already on the moving on. All right, so all right, very good. We'll stick with that. We'll stick with that.
What,
all right, so you're
What level admiral are we talking about?
We'll say remind me what the levels are, and I'll give it to you.
I don't know, like rear and vice and something and admiral and.
Oh, we lost Mike again.
There goes Mike. But she's not Commander Starfleet, right?
Right. She's like a newly promoted admiral. She does have a reputation. Okay. All right. So you're all sitting down in the reading room, and she says, hold on, let me go ahead and get her story situated here. She kind of starts her mission for the USS Pike. So I want to read her backstory. All right, so Captain Jellicoe says, Admiral, he says Bana, right? Because they're good friends. Please tell me what's going on here. If this is not Starfleet business, let me know what's happening. And she goes, okay. She says, about a year ago, my teenage son, Averly, who you know, Captain Jellicoe, began behaving strangely, showing signs of possible schizophrenia. The best doctors in Starfleet could not find anything wrong, physically or mentally, wrong with him. When I took the time to try to understand my son's madness and his illness, I noticed some of the strange things he said made sense when put into a larger context. I also heard from doctors about a small number of other people across the alpha and beta quadrants showing similar symptoms. Doctors called it a new disease and moved on, particularly as it was not fatal and the effects could be minimized with specific combinations of medication. I didn't stop looking. I went to visit the other afflicted with this madness. I saw similarities between what they were saying and what my son was saying. They talked of prisons, of traveling dimensions, of ruling the universe, of caretakers and planet movers, of megaliths and quantum theories. I believe that this is a new disease that was something more than a physical or mental affliction, but no one was listening to me. Eventually, I myself came down with what I assumed was this disease, but it turned out it was just a voice in my head. The voice, speaking at a vast distance, promised me answers if I could get to a particular moon in a planetary system and restore some technology. I want to go to this moon and figure out what's happening with me and my son and some other people. Does anyone want to say anything?
Captain, as executive officer, I must insist that we report this to Starfleet. This is a gross misuse of Federation equipment.
Okay, so Jellicoe kind of looks at you and he kind of nods because he knows you're right? And he says, Commander Masters, you are completely right. I understand that we are required by Starfleet to report this. However, at this time, I simply want to find out what's happening with the Admiral here.
Minden stands up and just says, Admiral, I'll help you by any means necessary.
So she kind of looks at Minden and she says, thank you so much, Minden. And I am pleased to see that you got a great position here on the USS Pike. And you look good in your new uniform.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Could we take... Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was like, could we take the... I would say, Captain, could we take the runabout to this moon with a small away team and leave the Pike where it is on its current mission and not involve the Pike and endanger anyone on the Pike?
He kind of looks and he's like, yeah, it's kind of a good idea. And he kind of looks at the Admiral and he said, this is a possibility. Would you agree to take a small away team with you? And she kind of looks disturbed by this and she says, there's more to the story than I need to say. So she says, while dealing with the early stages of the voices in my head, I became suspicious that someone was trying to stop my investigation into this disease. I found access to people being denied, victims of the quote unquote disease disappearing after I talked with them. I noticed that there was notes and reports that were being tampered. And these combined coincidences, I believe, are a cover-up forcing by Starfleet. And I do not trust Starfleet at this moment, but I want to know what's happening with my son.
Would you happen to have the medical records for your son?
I do. They're not with me right now, but I do have those medical reports.
Is there any way that you could get them to me so that I could look over them?
I could try to get those medical reports to you, yes.
And perhaps submit yourself for a medical checkup, Admiral.
So Jellicoe kind of looks at you. You know, he's kind of upset about that, right? But he doesn't say anything. But he kind of gives you like an evil look. He's not happy about that. So she kind of blows off what you just said, and she says, well, she kind of looks at Commander Master. She's like, Commander, look, I understand that you believe that that I'm crazy, but I believe there is something at work here. I believe that there is a cover up by Starfleet to figure out what's going on with this, and I just want to find out what's wrong with my son.
I say this with the greatest respect because I know that you're a very decorated captain, and I've always appreciated your work.
Thank you.
Still hearing this voice in your head?
Periodically, I'll hear a voice and I'll get a couple of visions. Every time I get this vision, it tells me to go to this system to get some ancient technology. I don't know what this voice is. At first, I thought I was crazy. And to be honest with you, Commander, she kind of looks like you, Commander, again. To be honest with you, Commander, I thought I was just being inflicted with the disease. But when I started finding out that many of the documents and reports on this disease were being erased and being tampered with, and many of these people were disappearing, I knew something else was going on. I ask, and I know this is a big ask, I ask that we take this ship and we go and find out what's happening. As soon as we figure out what's happening, as soon as we figure out what's there, and yes, I understand there might not be anything there, I will turn myself into Starfleet. So kind of Captain Jellicoe kind of looks around. He kind of shrugs a little bit because he knows this is going to be a big ask. And he says, all right, I'm willing to go and figure out what's happening right now, but I need to know what everybody feels right now in this room. If you have a disagreement with this, it will be duly noted in my logs that you are against this. I will not confine you to quarters, but I do ask that you follow your orders. I need to know how everyone feels about this. Are you okay with us going to this planet and figuring out what's going on, even though it is not official Starfleet business?
So you're taking the Pike to this moon. Is that my hearing this correctly?
We are going to take the Pike. So he kind of looks at you, Acid, first, or Slaw. He's like, you are the helmsman. Are you okay with these orders?
I disagree with us taking the whole ship, but I will follow orders.
Okay. I will note that in my log that you were hesitant to do this, right? So if there's any sort of punishment,
I would prefer to take a smaller craft, but if you feel like that we've got to take the whole ship, then I'll do as you say. I'll follow orders, but I'll protest a little, just for the safety of the entire crew.
Sounds good. That is noted. He kind of turns to the commander and he's like, Commander, I know we don't see eye to eye a lot, but I need to know how you feel about this.
I will, of course, execute whatever orders that you give, Captain, but we have to inform Starfleet of this, whether it's if we just drop a comm buoy that sends out a signal after we've left. If we don't inform them, then she won't be turning herself in. She'll be turning all of us in, and we'll all be court-martialed.
He kind of turns to the Admiral. He's like, are you okay with this? And she kind of looks hesitant. She's like, that is fine. He turns to the doctor. He says, how do you feel about this? Are you okay with this?
I would much prefer to actually take a look at some of her claims and take a few scans and run a few tests, but
she kind of stops and she says, Doctor, if you want to scan me, if you want to do a medical examination, you may do that.
Well, I believe that we should wait on moving or going anywhere until I complete those tests. Okay. At the very least.
Duly noted. He turns to the tactical officer, the chief, the security officer, Dankra, and he says, how do you feel about this? Oh, CJ, you're muted, buddy. Still muted. Still muted.
I look away, look directly at Commander Masters, and I say, not looking in the eyes of the Admiral there, and saying OPSEC is the utmost important here. I would like to see those files be submitted. I want to reassure that this team stays safe, and still looking at the commander for the head nod. If he gives me the head nod, he slightly gives the head nod. Yes, I will support this mission.
He wants to know how his bro feels. I like it. Very good. And then Ensign Minton, how do you feel about this?
He just goes on to say, I think for everything the Admiral has accomplished and given to this organization, we should all be, without a doubt, be lending a helping hand.
She turns to you and she says, "Thank you so much, Minden. Thank you so much." All right, very good. All right, so Captain Jellicoe says, "All right, that is what we're going to do." So he kind of gets up. Admiral gets up as well, and they kind of go into the bridge. You guys are kind of following along. We can even say like you kind of go to your stations. All right. He kind of turns to Acid and he says, "Slaw, set a course for," what's the name of this planet? Can't remember what this planet is called. Let's just call it Pascal. Set a course for Pascal. Okay. Before you initiate the heading and take off, Ensign Bryce goes, "Captain, we have a priority message from the USS Walcott. They want to speak with you immediately." Right. And he says they're also on an intercept course with us. They'll be here in about 10 minutes. So kind of like Jellicoe kind of looks surprised by this. He kind of looks at the Admiral, and she kind of has an expression on her face that you all can read as she was expecting this. Mm. So he says, "Okay, put it on the screen." He puts it on the screen, and it's a captain. It's an Andorian captain, so he's got his little antennas, right? He's the blue antennas, right? Nice. And he's mad. Like you could tell he's pissed off. And he goes, "Captain Jellicoe, is Admiral Stoker on your ship?" And of course, he can kind of see her, so he knows that she is. He kind of looks at her and he said, "Yes, yes, Captain. What seems to be the problem?" And he goes, "Captain, are you aware that we were taking Admiral Stoker to Starfleet, and she stole a shuttlecraft and disabled our vessel?" And he kind of looks at Stoker, like kind of shocked, and she's kind of like expressionless. And he's like, "I was not aware of that." And he says, "Captain, we have orders to take the Admiral back to Starfleet. I ask that you lower your shields so that we can email Stoker back to our ship, and we can continue our mission." Right? And Jellicoe goes, "Okay." "I understand." And he says, "Give me 10 minutes." And he kind of goes this to Ensign Bryce to cut off the transmission. And he looks at Admiral Stoker like, "What the heck did you just get me into?" Like he's upset, right? But you could tell they've had a relationship, like they know each other pretty well. And he says, "What's going on?" And she kind of looks at him and she says, "Captain, please help me. I'm going to disappear if you put me onto that vessel. Please do not put me on that vessel. Please take me. I will turn myself in once we go to this planet. But please do not drop the shields so that they can take me." And he kind of looks around, and he's kind of thinking about what to do. Does anyone want to say anything at this moment?
Minden chimes in and, kind of some empathy, I guess, like, "Admiral, what did you do?"
And she says, "I was simply attempting to get the information necessary to save my son. They have accused me of doing things I have not done, and they are taking me back to Starfleet. But I'm afraid if I go, I will disappear." She kind of goes, "Minden." She kind of looks at you, Minden. She goes, "Minden, you know who I am. You've worked with me in the past. You know who I am. You know that I am not a criminal.
I do know that.
All right. Anyone else want to chime in?
Go ahead.
So without consulting Jellicoe, I'm going to tell the comms officer to contact Starfleet and verify the orders of whatever the other ship's name was.
Who is the comm officer on this? Are we gonna say it's Ensign Bryce? You want to say
Sure.
it's the Ensign Bryce guy? Okay.
Yeah,
So he kind of looks at Captain Jellicoe for like confirmation.
That's not how this works. Don't look at him.
No, so, yeah, no. So this is so yeah. You can be pissed off about this, but he kind of looks at Captain Jellicoe for confirmation, and Jellicoe kind of gives him like a head nod, and he starts typing in. You start typing the report, and then you start noticing like the Walcott starts hailing again, right? You hear the beep 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 like they're calling, right? And Admiral says, Captain, she says one more time, please do not put me on that vessel. I will disappear. So Captain Jellicoe, he kind of looks at it and he's like, what do you suggest? What do you suggest we do? That's a Federation vessel. And she goes, I'm very familiar with this class of vessel. I helped design it. I know that it has some deficiencies in the warp nacelles. She kind of walks over to Lieutenant Dankra at the tactical station. And she kind of points to various parts, like the diagram of the vessel. And she goes, if we target this part of the warp nacelles, we can hit them in one shot and it'll knock out their warp capability and we could just outrun them.
Whoa, now. I don't feel like firing on another Federation vessel. I was going to suggest that we put some type of homing device on you, and that way, when we do hand you over, we can track you to make sure that we can attempt to keep you safe and follow you.
Okay.
To make sure you don't disappear.
Okay, so Slaw is making it known, but like you're saying right off the bat, we should not be firing on a Starfleet vessel.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Does anyone else want to say anything?
Well, could I be trying to get a scan on her with the tricorder for at least the base scans?
You want a scanner?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. We got some action going on here. So this is going to be a difficulty of 0.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, you have 10 threat. It's 2 threat per person, so there's 10 threats stacked against you guys in this episode. So we do need to build some momentum.
What does that mean?
All right. So threat is the opposite of momentum.
So we need to gain momentum to get rid of the threat.
Well, I can use threat against you.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
To make things all right. So here we go. So we have Asha. Let's do here. You are let's do daring because you're trying to be sneaky, right? So it's gonna have to be daring. It's gonna be a daring in medicine, right?
Okay.
A difficulty of, let's say a difficulty of 0, so we can build some momentum. Once again, you're rolling 2 d20s, and you want to get it under your score, which would be a 15. All right. So what do you got?
A 10 and a 14.
A 10 and a 14. So one of them, both hit.
Both hit.
So 2 successes. All right. So you built 2 momentum. All right. So you're scanning her, right? It's because you're concerned that there's something going on. You want to figure out. You're kind of confused on what's happening here, and you're not really noticing anything particularly wrong. Like it's normal. It's normal medical readings on her. Right. So nothing in particular wrong with her right now. Anybody else want to say anything? Do anything?
Have we heard back from Starfleet?
Okay, so I'm assuming we'll say Masters is saying is talking to Bryce, right? The Lieutenant Ensign Bryce. Have we heard anything?
Also, Bryce, you're gonna have the worst duty for the next month.
Yeah.
So So Bryce says, "Sorry, Commander, I've not heard anything from Starfleet yet. Never heard anything from Starfleet." So Captain Jellicoe, like all this is happening right now. The tension's sort of building, right? And he kind of looks at Admiral Stoker, and he says, "You're certain if we fire at this spot, it will just disable the ship?" And she says, "I am 100%. I promise you, it will just disable the ship. We'll be able to outrun them. No one will be harmed." All right.
If he goes to order to fire on a Starfleet vessel, I'm going to try to belay his order and have him relieve the command.
If you must get away from this ship, I recommend that we mask the signature, the life rating signature on the runabout she came in, and release the runabout and send it into maximum warp in another direction to try to fool them that she's on board and trying to escape.
All right, so
that they go after that instead of us.
So Flaw is suggesting that we allow.
Because I'm not firing on another vessel, but if you've got to be sneaky about this, I suggest release the runabout with no one in it.
He's kind of thinking about this too. He kind of likes this idea. This is like an opposite. This is an idea that's better. Like that's Flaw. And then Ensign Bryce, he kind of chimes in and he goes, "I'm sorry, but it is the Admiral's orders are the only thing that matters here. It doesn't matter what anybody else's opinion is. It matters what the Admiral wants." So he's kind of like he's being a
Who is this?
This is Ensign Bryce.
Can I also, and while he's in mid sentence, can I roll to punch him in the face?
Oh God.
You don't like him, right? I like it. Very good. Excellent. So Captain Jellicoe says, "I'm sorry, Admiral. We're not going to fire on this on a Starfleet vessel, right?" And she says, I'm sorry, Captain. I am the Admiral here. I'm ordering Lieutenant Donkra to fire on the vessel, right?"
Did she assume command of the ship?
She's saying that she's assuming command of the ship, and she's saying fire on the.
Where is Starfleet orders to give you command of the ship?
She's sort of taking.
Then I quickly interrupt her and say, "I want to remind you, ma'am, according to Starfleet C-4.234, according to that memorandum, everybody's a security officer, and at any point, regardless of rank or position, you can't just do anything that you want to. This is in violation. This is utter violation of everything we believe in, and I am still leaning towards my commander." Not my commander, by the way. You're not my commander, by the way. I'm leaning towards Commander Masters and what he approves on this ship. I don't care. Yeah. I don't care.
All right, very good, excellent. So Donkra is not listening to the Admiral right here. Yeah. Then there's another Starfleet officer, kind of in the back. He's like he's just like a science officer. We'll call him Tish. And
got a really Tish, masculine name, Tish.
And Tish goes, it's one of my good friend's last name. And Tish says, he says, "Lieutenant Donkra, your admiral just gave you a direct order. Are you not following your superior officer's order?"
I'm following the rule. I rebuttal. I'm following the rules. I go strictly by the rules, and clearly in those memorandums and those FMs specifically say what I can and cannot do, and this goes completely against my morals. It goes completely against my values, and I only to follow the rules. Rank doesn't trump rules.
All right, very good. Does anyone else want to say anything?
I recommend she be taken to sickbay. She's apparently going crazy at this point.
I'm going to send a message to engineering to shut down the photon torpedo tubes and the phasers.
All right, so you kind of doing that secretly?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just open a channel to it. I'm chief engineer.
You're going to say it out loud? You're going to say it out loud?
Yeah.
All right. So, and then Captain Jellicoe says, belay that order, right? Belay that order. And then, so Captain Jellicoe says, everyone relax. Everyone relax. Okay. I don't want a mutiny on my vessel. We are not going to fire on the vessel. He says, he tells Lieutenant Bryce or Ensign Bryce to open up a channel to the Walcott. And he kind of turns to Admiral Stoker and he says, I'm so sorry about this. Right. And then the Stoker comes on the screen and he says, Captain, lower your shields. We will beam the Admiral over to your vessel. And he's like, finally, he's like, thank you, Captain. Okay. So he says, all right, Lieutenant Bryce, go ahead and lower the shields. As soon as he lowers the shields, Captain Bryce enters the transporter and transports him, the Ensign Tish character, Admiral Stoker, and Captain Jellicoe over to the Walcott. Right? They appear on the bridge. Two of them have phasers, and they just start shooting everybody with the phasers. The two. So Tish and Bryce have phasers, and they just start firing on the ship. And they don't know this was going to happen, so they completely get overtaken. And now they have the bridge of the Walcott.
Right. Okay, say that again.
So
the two people that we just wanted to punch started shooting over on the bridge over there. So I'm assuming Jellicoe and the Admiral are crouched in a corner somewhere, avoiding the line of fire. Mm-hmm. Okay. And have they killed the bridge crew?
Tish character, the two characters that you guys hated, there's four of them that got transported onto the bridge of the Walcott. They were not expecting this, so they were not prepared. And the two characters started firing phasers, and they completely took over the bridge of the Walcott.
Were the phasers set to stun or kill?
Would you know that based on anything?
Well, if there's bodies left, they're stunned.
Oh, so stunned. They are stunned. All right, so now they have. All right, so while you're sort of shocked on what you just saw, because you can see this in the view screen, right? Because you were still talking with them. You notice that the Walcott is starting to sort of charge up the engines, and they're about to go, right? And then the Walcott fires a phaser, so fires on the pike at the warp nacelle and disables the warp core. Disables your warp engine. All right, so your warp engine is sort of completely disabled. And you look on the view screen as the Walcott warps out. All right. All right. Anything?
So our comm officer is no longer there.
No, right.
All right. So I'll walk over to communications and hail Starfleet and inform them of the situation.
So Starfleet appears immediately, right? So obviously, the Bryce character was lying when he said he contacted Starfleet. So Starfleet, you'll see an admiral there, and he says, he kind of looks confused, like, Commander, how can I help you?
So we just had an interesting situation develop. We had a rogue admiral named
Stoker. He chimes in. He knows.
Okay.
He's an Admiral Stoker.
She showed up on a runabout, asking us to help her go to some planet without informing Starfleet. And then another ship called the Walcott with Captain something showed up and claimed to be ferrying the Admiral to Starfleet Command. So we attempted to verify the orders, but it turned out that our comms officer, who has been embedded for months, is involved in some nefarious plot. And they beamed over to the Walcott and shot a bunch of people and stole the ship. and we are currently disabled. And Captain Jellicoe was in command this entire time. I just want to make that abundantly clear.
So obviously the Admiral kind of like, he does the whole spiel like, are you saying you do not have Stoker and the Walcott is rogue? All right.
Yes, sir.
So, all right. So the Admiral kind of looks at you and it says, Commander, you are now, you have been promoted to acting captain of the USS Pike. Your mission is to track down the Walcott and to figure out what is going on.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right.
Okay.
Very good.
So who is third in command?
Actually, Lindsay's third in command. Asha's third in command.
Okay. Who's an operations officer? Who's third? Who would be next?
We don't really have an operations officer.
I'm just gonna say Donkra.
Oh, you're promoted. You're promoting.
I'm needed in engineering to fix the warp nacelles. Donkra, you have the con, and I will walk out onto the turbo lift.
Okay, where are you going? You're going to the turbo lift for
Donkra just Ricky Bobby's it.
Very good.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
let's skip ahead in time. I think that we can actually finish this in 30 minutes because I know many of you have to leave at 9. So let's skip ahead in time. Let's say the warp core has been reestablished, right? And you track down the Walcott and you warp to the location. You get to the planet and you notice that the Walcott is in orbit. You notice that there is a shuttlecraft on the planet's surface. All right. It's up to you. Now, your move.
Go to red
First,
alert.
check for life signs on the Walcott for their crew.
Okay. All right. So you scan the vessel and you notice that there are hundreds of people on the Walcott. So all life signs.
Are they moving or are they still?
It's still.
They're all still.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all unconscious.
You don't know that.
They're not moving.
Asha wants to go to the Walcott.
Are the shields up on the Walcott?
The shields are not up.
Yeah, we should beam a medical team over there and a security team.
All right, very good. So you beam over to the. Where do you want to beam on the Walcott?
I would say the bridge was where the last. That's what we saw last. The action take place to make sure the bridge crew's okay.
All right. So who's beaming aboard?
Asha will go. Everybody else wants to head planet side. They can, but Asha will go to the ship.
Minden will go.
Minton's going. So there's 2. Donkra's going as well. We'll say 3. All right, so
we can just
I'll stay.
If it's better for the story.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I'll go to. They need protection.
I'll stay on the Pike in case I need to get anybody back in a pinch.
All right, so all 3 of you beam over to the Walcott, and you're on the bridge, and the bridge is completely empty. Completely empty. And then you're kind of looking around for a little bit, and then you hear like loud bangs on a door. Boom, boom. Get us out of here! Boom, boom. And you look over to the captain's ready room, and you go over to the door, and the door is locked. It is locked with a security code that you need to unlock the door.
I say to everyone, I'm the captain now. And
Are we open? Are we?
I take the ship and
Do I have an open channel? Whatever. Like, are we all listening?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can I beam them into the ready room from the Pike?
Sure. I'll allow that.
Okay.
So you're gonna beam all 3 of them over there?
I'll beam all 3 of them up and through the into the room.
So you beam into the room, and you're in the reading room, and you notice that there are like 5 people in that room. It's the bridge crew, and you see the very angry Andorian captain, and he says, "What the hell is going on?"
We are trying to figure that out ourselves. First priority is the health of you and your crew. We're
executive security.
That too.
Nice.
All right. So he says, "Well, we were just fired on. We just got about shot by phasers, so we're fine, but kind of hurt a little bit."
The rest of your crew outside of the bridge are not moving, so we need to get you moving. We need to find your medical officers and get them on this so that I can go help the rest of my crew.
Okay. All right. So let's skip ahead. So you're kind of looking around, and the 4 people are not on the ship. So those four people are not on the ship. What do you want to do now?
Let's scan the planet surface for them.
You scan the planet's surface, and you notice there's 4 life forms on the planet.
Is one Jellicoe's communicator?
Sure. Yes.
Let's beam the captain up.
All right, so we're going to beam the captain up. All right, so as who's beaming the captain up?
I can beam him up from the pike and leave it and beam him straight to the pike. That way he's not on the other ship.
All right, so you attempt to beam the captain up, and of course, in Star Trek fashion, there's a disruption in the atmosphere that's not allowing the transporter to lock on to.
I can't lock on, Commander Masters. There's a disruption in the atmosphere.
Science officer, what's the disruption? Whoever our science officer is.
Yeah, who's the science officer? It's not me.
Me too, Ricky Bobbies.
It looks like it runs on some form of electricity. I don't
recommend taking the runabout down.
Okay.
To get closer and beam him onto the runabout. Get under the disruption, but not land on the planet.
Is that what everybody wants to do? All right, and all 5 of you are going to go on the runabout, right? So you go down.
Funny how
I'll get to the runabout and beam everybody onto the runabout.
All right, so you're on the runabout in Star Trek fashion. The most important officers on the ship go down to the planet. All right, so you're down on the planet. You track down the shuttlecraft, and you get to the shuttlecraft. There's no one there next to the shuttlecraft, but you get out your tricorders. And you kind of notice that you kind of know where they're going, and it's sort of leading to a cave.
I'll hail the pike and say, use the significantly more powerful scanners on the ship to tell us what's in there.
All right, so
I also brought in some transporter enhancers on the shuttle with us.
Okay, very good. Excellent. I like it. Very good. So a crewman says, Commander, sorry. That whole thing, right? And then he says, we're unable to determine what's in there. We do know that there is some sort of technology down below the surface. Anyone?
How big is the cave?
It appears to be. I don't know who this person is. It's a pretty large open area down there. Right?
I mean, is it large enough to? I mean, this is not the science officer. Just is it large enough to fly the runabout into?
No, you have to walk.
So a ship's not coming out of there. Okay.
Right.
That we know of.
Did you say there was a shuttle?
Yes.
Nearby?
So you landed by the shuttle.
Okay.
So it's us in the shuttle. Okay.
So you know that was their shuttle.
And who was this by the shuttle?
Who is this by the shuttle? You assume it's the 4.
Who's the nerd that you were that was talking?
He's on the ship. He's scanning.
Oh, the guy on the ship. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so there's nobody by the shuttle.
No.
Okay.
I'm going to trade out my handheld phaser for a phaser rifle.
Okay. All right. Very good. Excellent.
Yep. I'll take your phaser and I'll put the transporter enhancers on my shoulder and say, well, let's go in, I guess, if you want to.
All right. So you going down there?
Time to send the red shirts in.
That's right.
All right,
red
here
shirts. Go.
We have enough time to do this. So here we go. All right. So you walk down there. It takes a little bit to walk down, but you walk and you sort of like there's a circular open crevice, right? And in this circular crevice, you notice that there is a singular crystal-like object. And there's like a light coming down. It's just like a spotlight on this crystal, like a diamond crystal that's sort of like floating in the middle of the room, right?
Mm.
And then you also notice that there are 3 like floating drone-like objects in the room. So you have, like, when you walk into the room, there's like one here, one to the left, one to the right, and then one behind the crystal in the middle. Right. Does anyone want to do anything?
I want to secure.
Scan.
Yeah, scan it all.
All right. So let's go ahead and build some momentum. We have 2 momentum so far.
Indeed.
All right. So who wants to scan? We'll say that this will be an insight and science. We'll kind of go with that. Who wants to scan? Insight and science.
That's a 9 for me.
I have an 8.
That would be an 11 for me. So I guess, unless one of the other science-specific people want to take a stab at it.
My science is 1 because I secure.
My insight is an 11.
Ooh. What's your science?
My science is a 4.
That might be the best. That might be the best bet. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So we're gonna say a difficulty of 1. We'll say a difficulty of 1. All right. So go ahead and roll 2 d20s.
A 9 and a 14.
So both are good, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Very good. So it was a difficulty of 1. So you did. So no momentum, but it was a success. So as I already forgot your name, Minden is scanning the devices. You notice that these devices are armed, right? That they are some sort of like defensive technology, and that they have the capability of harming people. Actions. I'll do the action. All right. So as Minden was scanning, he activated the devices, and all 3 of them turn on. Right? They have like a red glowing light, and they all start moving towards you. And they're sort of like they're sort of coming at you
slowly.
And they came at you, and Mike just ran away.
He just left.
Is it coming at us like the Incredibles? You know, that little red device that was tracking down the supers? Yeah. Is it like it's more like that? Okay.
Very good. Very good. Excellent. Yes, they are doing that. And in fact, one of them fires.
Of course.
One of them fires at Minden. All right. So first of all,
no security.
If it's a success, we'll say
dives in front of Minden.
We'll say control security.
It misses.
So 9. So first, I need to get this opened up. I need to get my dice rolled. Where is my dice? Here it is.
I'm the one in the blue shirt. I'm backtracking back down the hallway.
You're like, I'm just gonna go this way.
All right. 2 d20s, a 10 and a 7. So 1 was a success, and since it's firing, okay. So it activates once Minden is scanning, and it fires at Minden, but it goes right past his head.
Like a warning shot.
Like, phew. All right. So remember, in this is combat now. In combat, you guys all share a turn. So you need to figure out who's going. Now you can spend momentum to keep your turn, but first we need to. So everyone could do a minor action right now. So what does everybody want to do in terms of a minor action? So
I would like to set up my transporter enhancers.
Okay. All right. So Slaw
for a large area.
Okay.
Now is this
like a quarter of the room.
Like a stun type thing, or is this a full on like lethal dose of laser beam?
You have no idea. Have no idea.
I would, if possible. I know I'm stun resistance. The stunning has nothing. That has no effect on me. I don't mind putting my neck out there to see what's gonna happen. If push comes to shove, I'll just grow a limb back. I don't think we can grow limbs back, but I'll still see what happens. I got a science person over here in security.
So Dakra, are you gonna do something?
Yeah, I want anytime that a beam or something is fired towards us, I want to try to deflect it away from any of the members that are out.
So you're kind of moving towards it to kind of draw its fire.
Yes,
he's our tank.
Yes.
All right. Very good. Now, does anyone? So that's a minor action for you, Benton. Are you going to do a minor action? So there's various things you can do. You can you can get in cover.
Yeah, I'll probably be looking for cover.
Okay.
It's Minden, by the way.
Kind of dive behind any kind of rock or anything like that.
Very good. Asha, what do you want to do?
Is definitely heading for cover because this is not what she does.
You should help me set up my transporter enhancers.
Jeremy,
I can help Slaw.
Yeah.
Run over to help Slaw. Okay,
yeah,
good.
We're setting up transporter. We're getting the heck out of here.
Commander Masters, what do you want to do?
Did you say that we see the people?
Not yet.
Yeah, we don't see them. Yeah, I'll just yell out for Jellicoe.
All right, Jellicoe, you son of a bitch! All right, so now we can do one major action. Do we just want Donkra to fight?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Donkra, what do you want to do? You tell me what you're doing.
I'm gonna fight them all.
Yes. It's a one-man show.
Tell me what Donkra. Tell me what your action is.
I am attacking the projectiles that are coming towards us. These things.
I think you should grab one and hold on.
Yeah, I'll grab.
See what happens.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to go for one of my mean right hooks that I have. And while everybody's back behind me and I'm plowing through.
I love this the second time where Donkra has a phaser and just wants to go up there and punch someone. All right, very good. All right, all right, Donkra, you are going to do a daring because it is you're doing a daring attack, and then security. So you're 12.
My
plus
daring
5.
is at 12, and then my security is at 5.
All right, so that's a 17. So go ahead and roll 2 d20s.
Roll. Oh, 2 and 14.
2 and 14. So 1 is a success, and it was a difficulty of 0 because you are attacking. So 1 success, so that is success. Now you need to roll your D6s. Yeah, D6s.
My D6s.
Yeah. So you have. All right. So when it comes to since you're doing an unarmed strike, you get 6 D6s.
Okay.
So you get to roll 6 D6s.
I'm gonna roll 66s then. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I need one more 6. I am now officially rolling. Roll.
Let me know what your numbers are.
2 6s, 2 5s, a 1, and a 4.
All right, so so one is a hit. Say the numbers again. Sorry.
2 6s, 2 5s, a 1, and a 4.
All right, so one of them is unsuccessful. One. So 4 hits. So yeah, 4 hits there.
Yes.
All right, very good. So this is just the one that was closest to you. There's 3 of them, and you just ran up to one of them.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. So you see Donkra, he's just hanging on one of them, and he's just like beating it, right? He's kind of in the air because the thing's floating. The thing's floating. He's just beating it.
And I'm filming it with my phone.
All right.
He said, "I'm going viral, world star."
Let's go.
Actually, you know what? I think I'm supposed to add 2 to your challenge die too. So roll two more d6s.
2 more d6s. Wait, hold on. Let me erase some of these because I don't want you to think I'm cheating. Oh, well, you can't see anyway, but I have a 5 and a 3.
A 5 and a 3. Okay. So that gives you 1 more. So it's 5. All right, very good. All right, so it's now the drone's turn, unless you guys want to use your 2 momentum to keep your turn.
Would that just allow Donkra to like attack again, or would it have to be one of us?
He can actually.
So the one he's on is now.
It adds a difficulty. If he attacks back to back, it adds a difficulty to it.
Right. So I would suggest someone else do something at this point. So our likelihood of succeeding here is higher.
I'm assuming there was no response to Masters calling out.
I think we should save the momentum for something a little later.
Yeah.
Okay.
While hitting and beating up on these machines here, were we able to bring it down so that we can, what's the word I'm looking for? Not study it. So Minden can take a look at it to see what makes it work, what makes it tick.
Well, right now it's fighting you.
It's still fighting me. Okay.
It's fighting you. All right. So we're passing the turn back to the drone.
Or has Minden noticed anything that will give us a better strategy moving forward with these?
Minden, do you want to scan these devices?
Well, the last time we scanned it, it shot at us. And shot at him, actually.
Right, but at this point, it's like I've distracted it, at least this one, and we'll be able to something.
Was this the one that shot at Minden?
Yeah,
the one that he's hanging on to.
Yes.
Let's give Minden a chance to Star Trek this up. All right, so Minden, let's say Minden's kind of in the corner. He's got his tricorder. He's trying to figure out the devices. All right, so Minden, this is what I want you to do. I want you to do you're kind of doing like an insight, right? Because you're trying to figure out what's going on, and science. And then this is going to be a difficulty of 1, right? So 15 is your number. So roll 2 d20s.
Okay. $18 and $15.
18 and 15. So one of them was success, and it was a difficulty of 1. So that was successful. All right. All right. So Minden, he's sort of scanning the devices, and he says he kind of talks to the commander, and he says, "Commander, I think I've discovered the source of energy for these devices. If we shoot that device or that energy source, we can disrupt these devices."
Where's the device?
He kind of points to like an area in the room. He's like, it's right there. That's the energy source.
I pull out my phaser.
All right. So Acid points the phaser, shoots the that energy, that area sort of explodes, and you see the 3 drones just fall. All
right. And Donker
so
breaks his arm.
Ow! I could have done that.
And then
I'm security. Get off me.
Donker falls to the ground. Oh, he's okay. All right, so now you just see that that floating device. All
right. The crystal in the center of the room.
The crystal in the center.
Scan it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you're starting to scan it, and it's like you could tell it's some ancient artifact. You don't know, you don't recognize any of the technology behind it, but you know that it's incredibly powerful.
Right? Where are the life signs relative to us?
So as you are saying that, you hear a voice that says, "Don't shoot, Commander." And Admiral Stoker sort of walks out of the darkness, and she kind of walks out of the shadow, and she says, "Don't shoot, Commander. I think this is bigger than any of us expected." And then you have "To be continued" that shows up on the screen. And yeah, of course you have the Star Trek dun 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 dun. And then it says,
"As soon as I see Bryce, I'm going to shoot him."
Yeah. Can I punch him first, Commander, and then you can shoot him?
All right, that is the particular episode. I kind of needed to wrap it up pretty quickly because I noticed that people need to get out of here. So it seemed like a good spot to end that on as well. All right, well, very good. Any questions about anything? I'm fascinated to know. I was worried. I didn't know what you guys were going to decide to do.
I appreciate the dialogue options.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. Like Mass Effect.
I enjoyed the dialogue options. I would have enjoyed some more rolling of things.
Okay, yeah, this was definitely heavy dialogue.
Yeah, which is fine. I like the dialogue. The dialogue's, a big part of it.
This was definitely heavily building the story, and it was more like you deciding what you wanted to do kind of a situation. There definitely wasn't a lot of actual gameplay kind of thing.
Unless Jeremy was just completely on board, like, yeah, let's figure this thing out.
I was kind of wondering if you were going to
take the bait,
fire on the vessel. I was wondering what was going to happen there. No.
Although I think if we had fired on the vessel, they wouldn't have got away.
Even that motivation I gave both Michael and Lindsay. I just gave you that motivation, but
I tried to send the runabout out, and they could go chase the runabout, but nobody.
Michael, I can't hear you.
I almost was like, "Is there a button to press?" I would have ran up and just pressed the button.
I was wondering what Michael was going to do. I didn't know how far he was going to go in it. I didn't know if he was going to sort of mutiny.
My plan with the shutting down the phaser banks and the torpedo tubes was then to say that I will go soup up the warp drive and get us extra speed to outrun them.
I was going to suggest putting the Admiral under a medical hold with Asha when Saul suggested it, but then you had the Walcott jump in again.
That would have been a good idea, have medical hold. But then I'm pretty sure she would have had some type of weird disease, and then all of a sudden she would have just flipped personalities, and we are dealing with a monster on the ship.
Well, Admiral Stoker's story is not over just yet. Right? We have a continuation. So yeah, well, like I said before, this was 90% my making in terms of this is supposed to be like a stopgap between now and the next episode.
Mm.
So I just wanted.
When do we want to do the next episode?
I'll send out a text and we'll try to figure that out. All right.
I don't want to leave it hanging for too long.
We don't. We're still on the air, by the way. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed that.
They're all watching. Thousands of viewers. Hello,
all the viewers.
We
did have one viewer that enjoyed our last Star Trek Adventures episode and wanted us to do another one.
I did blast it out to everybody, so maybe they'll see it.
What if they don't like this one that you made?
That's definitely
millions and millions.
All right, very good. Right. Well, that's today's episode. We'll end it there. Michael, I hope I was able to end it in time.
Oh no, you're good.
All right, very good. All right. We will continue this story another time. Thank you, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it.